So this video is a precursor to our research that we're doing. Now, we've done lots of research on lots of different topics, very polarizing, especially flat Earth.
Yes.
Moon landing hoax.
Sure.
Mandela effect, not so much. People are sort of split on that, and it sort of raises a lot of what I would say is positive conversation. People trying to remember going back and forth and saying, hey, oh my God, I thought it was this and it turned out to be this. I wanted to go one step further, and I want the commenters to actually talk about this, because I think the people that follow our channels also follow a lot of channels that are covering this. So we're early in our research.
Yes.
And building to this.
Yeah,
long build.
Big build. Wait for it. No, you're right. You're completely right in what you said. And in fact, that we are going to dive into this and do a second video on this topic, showing
maybe a third or fourth or
maybe
fifth.
Third and fourth. But for this one, we're asking if you've got any evidence of this topic. Let us know in the comments. Please feel free to send links, etc. And what we're talking about kind of could possibly, if it's true, encompass all of those topics that we've talked about in the past, and that is the simulation hypothesis.
Yeah, also known as, people say, are we living in the Matrix?
Yes. Are we living in an actual Matrix? There's been articles in the past where people in physics have said, it's possible that we're one giant computer simulation. And that's what we're going to dive into next. And, there are, just off the top of my head, and again, we're early on the research stage. So this is two guys talking off the top of our heads about it, right? What do you think? Do you think it's possible? And why?
I think anything's possible now that when your eyes are opened up to this conspiracy theory stuff, and I hate even saying that because it really is just kind of like truth missions, truth finding. After 9/11, like we have talked about before, it started to open up a whole new world of even everything that happened before 9/11.
Right.
So as you go, the term we used a couple times, deep within the rabbit hole, and you start to, that's a quote right from the Matrix, as a matter of fact. You go into that and you start to think, I haven't quite got to the point where I think the conspiracy is that everything is a conspiracy.
Right.
But this is big. This is mind-blowing to think about it. And also, I'm very big into starting to research predictive programming. Mm-hmm. Big fan of the movie They Live. We talked about it in our previous video.
Yes.
And I watched the Matrix trilogy. And I just say, wow, they're talking about all this stuff, and They Live had kind of touched on that even a little bit before that. I do start to think about deja vu.
Yeah.
Glitches in the Matrix, things like that. Really out there stuff that, Mandela effect is one where I'm like, my God, is it really confabulation?
Right.
Have we really all remembered something incorrectly? Or
in
is
the same
Matrix,
way?
Has the Matrix been reprogrammed?
Yeah,
for
or is it a
people
glitch?
To believe that.
Is it a glitch in the Matrix or a reprogramming of sorts?
It's almost like a guilty pleasure type of research where you're like, wow, how crazy would it be if this is true?
Exactly. And my thoughts, I kind of agree with you on that. And I would encompass the Mandela effect and the flat Earth as possible topics.
Our reality is completely changed.
Yes.
Like you're saying, a globe Earth as opposed to a flat Earth in a different reality, a different programming of this Matrix.
Yes. And a lot of what the little bit that I've read on the simulation hypothesis, a lot of times you'll see references to the 100th monkey effect. And it's a supposed phenomenon that exists when a certain number of the group believes or accepts something, that it then spreads to other groups. So there's monkeys on an island. This is an experiment supposedly happened 100 years ago, right? There's an experiment with monkeys where it's like they got them all to eat certain foods, okay? And at first, none of them would do it. But then one did, second one did, third one did. And before you know it, all the monkeys, all 100 monkeys, when the 100th monkey finally accepted it and said, all right, I'm going to eat coconuts or whatever it was. Then what do you know? There were other islands of monkeys that had no contact with the test island that started saying, oh, you know what? We can eat coconuts. It was like this thing that just happened. Right. So with this flat Earth thing, is it like, because it's come into consciousness, is it growing? And the more people who get into it and accept it, is it actually becoming real? It's just like I say, it's pretty weird. It's pretty out there.
Well, the simulation hypothesis, like you said, was actually brought up on the same. I think it was brought up by a physicist who was on the same panel as a Neil deGrasse Tyson and other people. I think it was actually talking about. I don't know if it's the same one because it kind of all runs together after a while. The quantum computing and all these other things
Yes.
were brought up in this conference. With all these people in the audience. For supposedly one of the top physicists in the world to bring up the point that we might be actually living in a simulation, and
Yes.
it not to be rejected by the crowd or booed off stage or anything is pretty crazy.
Yeah, we're living in a crazy time with all this. And for years, we've also heard the New Agers talking about, the vibe that you put out is what will come back to you, that sort
Yeah.
of thing. That implies that we have control over the universe, right? New Agers have been talking about that for forever. Years ago, there was The Secret that came out. Just put it out there. Just put it out there. Is that because if you think it enough and enough people think it enough, it will actually change the Matrix? And again, we're not saying we believe this, but I'm like you, man. When I learned about 9/11 and some other things, my mind opened really quick to just about anything. I'll listen and do the research myself.
Well,
on just about
speaking
anything.
of 9/11, we could talk about this even in this precursor video forever. All the different theories about 9/11 have sort of changed.
Yeah.
And different elements of that have changed. And the videos have pointed out different things.
Yeah.
I'm not going that far, but it is kind of weird how in the Mandela Effect video that we did a while back, you were like, well, wait a minute. At first it was just nothing. Then it was demolition.
Yeah.
Then it was no planes. Then it was
Dustification.
the energy weapon.
The energy
directed
weapon,
energy
right?
weapon.
Where and the thing that I always
We're not
go
saying
back
any.
to-
We're not saying any or all of these are true. All we're
No.
saying is what they told us. Isn't
Right,
it? We know
right.
that part of the
Yes.
simulation of positive. Yeah.
Right. We're not taking a stance. We're quoting the
whoever's running the
crowds.
official story, the end of the simulation or the Matrix hypothesis,
Right.
Isn't doing a very good job of writing the narrative.
Yeah, no, they keep changing it, right?
No, it's just it has holes in it. It's almost like
It totally does. And so we're going to dive into this and do some more research on it and come back with some maybe a stronger opinion one way or the other. But what I would love people to comment and leave links on the best proof for or against the simulation hypothesis.